Okay, so today I have the pleasure of interviewing a lovely lady. Her name is Gillian Reid, and she has a very heartwarming story to tell, as well as how she's conquered what she's been through and how she is now ready and willing and poised for helping you guys. And I thought this is the perfect opportunity for me to interview her and introduce her to you. So I'm going to welcome in our lovely Gillian.
Hello,
So,
Ali.
hi, Gillian.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good. So, so have you done many interviews before?
No, I haven't. So I'm very new to this. Very new.
Oh, you do amazing. You do amazing. I haven't interviewed very many people. So, there is that. I've chatted with people, but that's different than interviewing, isn't it? So,
It
can you
is.
tell us a little bit about how you started on your journey, how you knew, or maybe even childhood, how that kind of came into this story?
Yes, well, it's quite interesting, but probably to other psychics, it's not that interesting. As a child, I always seemed to know things, but I didn't know why I knew them. And as a child, strangely enough, I didn't speak until I was about 3 years old, much to the disgust of my grandfather, who thought I was deaf and dumb. But when I did speak at the age of about 3, I spoke in full sentences, and everybody around was absolutely astounded. But clearly, all through that 3 years, I was having telepathic conversations with my guides, who were always around me, and I was communicating with them. So I didn't need to speak. But from 3, I spoke normally. And, I was always very well liked as a child. Going up through school, I was always very popular, but I never really felt as though I fitted in anywhere. I didn't really belong anywhere. And that, again, is part of this psychic journey. You just don't feel like you belong. But everything was normal after that. I just kind of lived with it and grew up, moved on, went into a career. And I, for many decades, worked for the NHS as a cardiac physiologist. I specialised in echocardiography, which is ultrasound for the heart. And I was manager of some large departments of teaching hospitals. And then I got married and had a beautiful son. That was after a slight interlude where I had gone into a corporate job and travelled the world, selling and demonstrating ultrasound equipment, attending corporate events. And it was fantastic. I had a great life there. And then I got married, had my son, and my then husband travelled for work as well. So my life then became quite small in terms of where I ventured to, because I was at home with my son, raising him mostly on my own, because my husband at the time travelled for work.
Yeah.
So I raised my son. And then the behaviour of my husband changed quite dramatically. And it turned out, to put it all in a nutshell, he was really quite an extreme narcissist. And there we have the empath, because I am a psychic empath, the empath narcissist paradigm. And from there on, things started to unfold, and it wasn't a nice situation. He had many addictions. He was a really very abusive man. And it came to the point that he actually tried to unalive me.
Oh my God.
And I had to escape, basically. So that ended. But as narcissists don't like to be the ones who finished things. After that, there was a whole nasty period ensued. However, we've come out of that. There were very tricky situations. He basically wanted to ruin my life, like many of them do. They want to bring you to your knees. They want to steal all your money. They want to, you know, make you homeless. Whatever they. If
you're not mine, then you're not gonna have a life. If you're not mine, that kind of energy.
Yes, absolutely, and it is very common. They're very good actors, these people, though, and they suck people in. And he was a CBO of a big company. So who are they going to believe? You know, are they going to believe him, or are they going to believe a housewife? And this happens time and time and time again, actually. So many stories, and it actually has to stop.
Yes.
But there are people in higher places that they befriend, or that they do favours for, or they do favours for them, and you know, you don't win. And there are he has connections to groups that would be known to people with psychic ability. And I'm very aware of that. I've been told that. So
above all of that, you've kind of shone your light out.
Yeah.
And you've decided, do you know what? He's not going to beat me.
Yeah.
So tell us about your climb up from there. Tell us about how you said enough is enough, and this is my life. I'm taking back my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you know, synchronicities present themselves, and I was led out of the blue to learn how to do Reiki. And initially I learned it for myself. I thought I was interested, and I thought, well, that would be quite nice to be able to do treatments on myself. And I went and I did Reiki 1 and 2, and then I actually went on and I did 3, which is the master level, and then I went and learned how to be a teacher. So I'm trained on all 4 levels. So I'm a Reiki master practitioner and master teacher. And I also, I'm a crystal therapist as well. I like crystals. I use crystals. I have an affinity to crystals. They talk to me. I'm very, very sensitive to the vibrations and the healing qualities of them. So that's really lovely. And I volunteered for nearly 3 years, actually, at the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in Edinburgh. And I trained alongside some famous psychic mediums, which was lovely. And I was in that environment, and I really feel that that's where Gordon Smith, Tony Stockwell, Lisa Williams. And Lisa Williams, as you know, she does the psychic investigation work, which was fascinating. And I've obviously taken on some of that training and used it in some of my own work, which has been quite exciting. I've been told quite a lot of things, very interesting information. Most psychics only get little snippets, but obviously as a team, you can build up quite a picture. And that is actually how Lisa Williams works. She has a team of psychics, and they all channel different bits, and then it's all put together, and it's actually sent to the police forces, the FBI, in America. And from there, they build up the picture. It is really fascinating. I really loved that side of things as well, because it was a different arm of the work that we can do and that we do.
Exactly. I love it, because I work along with a lady who's connected with the FBI, and I do that once a month, and pick up on all sorts of trafficking rings and all sorts of that, getting information. So it's lovely to get the feedback as well. You don't always get the feedback when you because I've had to contact the police and let them know things, which is really, you know, you think they're going to laugh at you, don't you? You think they're not going to take us seriously, are they? Just go, oh, another bloody psychic on the phone. But you know, so it's rewarding, isn't it? It's
very
rewarding.
Much so. Yeah, and the police do actually use psychics much
they
more.
Do.
Much
do.
more.
Yeah.
Much more. It's fascinating. However, while I was at the Conan Doyle, obviously I launched my Reiki business, and I did do work from there for a while, and then I opened up a lovely studio in the heart of Edinburgh, actually. And then COVID, the sea problem came along. Didn't want to use the word there. And we all got closed down.
Yeah. Oh, we seem to have lost Gillian. Oh dear. Hopefully she can come back. Oh, she's here. Good. Yeah. Oh, we lost you there. We lost you there just for a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I started working online, and I do readings as well. I do. Obviously.
Can I just ask something?
Yes.
Oh. For people, because I've heard of Conan Doyle, but I don't know exactly what it is. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, it's essentially the centre is a health and well-being centre, but it does house the Spiritualist Church. They work as separate entities, but within the Conan Doyle Centre, they host mediumship training, crystal workshop trainings, they do readings, they do all sorts of really lovely stuff. It's also a meeting place because they have a lovely coffee room. It's a meeting place for like-minded souls. It's a meeting place for people who are maybe needing a bit of spiritual support. And that was another nice part of the work as well. And obviously we tune into people. We know that they need that help, and we can give that support to them. So it is a lovely, it's a lovely place, lovely teamwork there.
So you had your own shop or therapy room? Yes, after that you. Yeah. How long did you have that for? Your shop, and did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I didn't have it, well, I had it for a year, but I was only able to work there for a few months, and then we got closed because of the pandemic. And then it was sad because I had, it was a lovely place, and it would be nice to get somewhere like that again, but it's got to be the right place, have the right energy, very particular. So we'll see, but as now I'm working online, and I do my Reiki treatments distantly, but I don't just send energy. I do a full study, and I have a conversation, a consultation with my clients before the session, and then I do this. And then I reconnect with them, and I tell them what I've found, what I've cleared, if I've seen any past life information, because I do get that when I do my Reiki as well. And obviously I get guidance from the guides. But lately, for a while, I've become very passionate about people who are repeating cycles in relationships.
Yes.
Who are attracting the same type of person, and they can't understand why one person is the same as the last. Because
you think that's it. I've changed my archetype. That's it. I know that this person's different. This person's different, and then you can see little traits coming out again. Because I've had that in the past in my relationships. Like, I thought I'd changed my archetype here, but here we go again. It's hard, isn't it? So that's good that you can help people get past that.
Yeah, very much so. A lot of it actually comes back to either childhood wounding or the wounding from a previous relationship. If it has been something like, just for example, a narcissist empath paradigm, they do chip away at your self-worth, your self-value, your confidence, and you then leave yourself open to accepting or settling for something that's actually not correct for you. And I'm passionate about restoring people's self-worth, self-value, their confidence. But before we do that, you have to remove the stuck energy, the blocks that have laid themselves down because of treatments, and also mental conditioning as well, because on a subconscious level we're affected. So we tell ourselves a story, and then that kind of drives us. So we have to clear that, as well as the energies. And some of these can actually be brought over from past lives or passed down from families or learned behaviour. So this is why I like to dig in and find out what's going on, what their childhood was like, and then obviously psychically we get downloads and information about what the issues were. You know, was it a particular family member that was maybe affecting? Mother issues, father issues, you know, it goes on, and it's very interesting. But you are, in a way, a bit of a psychic detective, trying to find out what the root cause of the problem is. So
oh, it's so beneficial. You know, you can see people just, once that penny drops, you can see that kind of like, oh my goodness, I now know, you know, and it's that relief, because your inner child, you keep criticizing your inner child, don't you? That you're, you know, why do we keep doing this? What is going on? What am I not learning? So, you know, with that, you can help heal them. You can help heal their, you know, their inner child as well, you know. So it's important. So it's good work. Yeah. I don't know if Gillian's frozen there. Oh, she's back. You just froze just for a second then. Okay, so yeah, carry on.
No, I was just saying it is very rewarding, because people just don't realise that it's stemming from their failed relationships, or just not being happy or contented within a relationship. They don't realise that it actually stems from something within. And we do, as I said earlier, we do attract what needs to be healed within ourselves also, you know, so we can attract people who are wounding. So it's very rewarding, because you're releasing people from that entrapment in a way, and you're giving them the passage to ascend and move up and be on a higher level, and attract people who are on a similar vibration when they are at a level of being healed. So it is very rewarding. And obviously ascension is very important, especially just now, because we want people to be working from a higher vibration.
To help Mother Earth to ascend. And no, it's really important. It's great. So would you say that your husband has taught you, you know, because sometimes we have to say who was our master teachers in this lifetime, and usually they're the people that hurt us the most. They're the people that usually give us that knowledge, you know, that we then can use either by being a victim, or we can say, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to use this to enhance myself and also then help others. And that's you know, hat off to you. That's what you've done.
Absolutely. And yes, absolutely, I agree. He was the karmic catalyst, as I would call him, the karmic catalyst. Yes. And he was placed in my life. I mean, we were meant to meet, and that was what was meant to happen. But I rose to the challenge, and I passed that part of my test. Because I do believe that most things in life are tests. They're here to make us grow and expand. And yes, I have learned so much from that part of my life. So much. I've gained wisdom. I've empowered myself. And it's my great wish and desire to help other people to empower themselves as well. So yes, he was the catalyst.
No, I can feel it. I can feel it in your heart. You know, you've got a really good heart, and you're ready. You're so ready to help others. And sometimes, you know, we're sitting there, we're shining our light, and we're hoping that people find us. But sometimes we have to do what this is doing. Get interviewed with different platforms and things like that, and shine out. Have you reached out to? There's a lovely guy called Todd Medina, and he does soulology. Have you ever, you know, because he's always looking for people to interview.
No.
So that may be another idea.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
He's got a really big following. Yeah.
I think,
I
think it's important for as many people to get exposure as possible, because we are here for a purpose. And I've always been all things heart anyway, you know, and people's hearts become enclosed. They put walls up, and then they wonder why they can't find somebody to give and receive on an equal level. And the reason is because sending out subconscious signals saying, don't come any closer because I'm guarded, you know, and I'm still wounded.
And they might not know that either. They might not know that they've kind of got this guard up as well.
No, most of them don't actually. Most of them don't. And it's just, you have to realize what's going on. Then you have to feel the emotion and release it to heal it. So that's the process, really. Yeah. But it is.
You see, before I met Greg, I was definitely in the cynical category. It was like, do you know what? I'm happy on my own. I cannot be doing with the drama of relationships. I was like, I just can't be doing with it. But when that right person's supposed to come along, all of those barriers do drop. They do drop. But in order to meet the right person, you need to be on your highest vibrational energy to meet the person that's truly your other half, you know, and they have to have done their work as well, you know, in order for you to kind of balance out, so that you're not in this drama kind of like, you know, each person needs healing. So yeah, I think, you know, it's a good thing that you're there to help with the, you know, to notice the blocks, to find out where they come from, and then to heal them so that they can be on the highest vibration to meet that special person.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very important. I think it's important as well, though. You said the barriers come down, but we still have to maintain boundaries as well. And as empaths, and probably a lot of people who, you know, are interested in our shows, your shows, a lot of them are empath, and we need to have good boundaries, and we need to have a lot of self-value, self-worth, because then we don't accept bad behaviour, if you want to call it that. So it's striking a balance. It's being aware. I think the awareness and clearing things that are causing blockages, and then you're on a straight road really to obtaining what you deserve, truly deserve, and what you want to be.
Yeah, it is about what we deserve. And if there's any kind of emotional trauma from the past or from childhood, that it's somehow inside you is saying, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. And so that is going out there, you know, in your auric field.
Yes,
you know, so you have to realize that you do deserve it. And you have to kind of, you know, help that healing process.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're quite right. Most people don't realise that it's within them as well. They just think it's the other person, but
But it, like I said, you know, like you said, I mean, if you keep attracting the same person learning the same lesson over and over again. We have to go into ourselves and say, what is this about me that I need to actually work out what's going on? You know, and that's not going, you know, beating your inner child up and saying it's your fault. You know, it's more to do with kind of, you know, am I broken? Is there something I need to heal? You know, and admitting to it is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we also have to be very cautious that we don't beat ourselves up as well. We have to have a lot of compassion for ourselves. We tend to, you know, beat ourselves with a stick if these things do repeat, and we have to be kind to ourselves, and we have to love ourselves. A lot of people don't love themselves because of what they've been through, and again, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect somebody else to love you? And a lot of people don't realise, you know, they it's quite sad actually, and a lot of the readings that I do pointing these out, you can actually physically feel, because I'm clairsentient as well, you can physically feel the brick in their heart. When you point things out, you can just feel their pennies dropped, but the bricks dropped in their heart, and they're aware of what has actually been going on. But that's the beginning of the journey for them to heal, be in a much higher and a much better and happier place. So yeah, it's fascinating.
So with your readings, you know, how much do you charge? How, you know, how does it work to people? Because we've got at the bottom here, if anybody does want a session, either like a Reiki session, you know, a healing session, or you want a reading, then her email address is along the bottom there. You can contact Gillian directly. So what happens when they contact you, Gillian? How does it go?
Well, when they contact me, I'll ask them when suits them best. I'll obviously give them the details of the costs, and then we'll book them in, and then I do my readings by telephone or WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever way they want to conduct it, really. The way I work, just because I do work for a well-known company as well on telephones, and obviously that is just an audible means. So they telephone, they go through a switchboard, and then they come to us that way. So but with Reiki, again, they would contact me, and I would set up the appointment and their payment, and that would all go through. But with Reiki, it's as I say, it's quite a long session for Reiki, because I do have and especially the first session, because we would have to take the history, work out what we were working on. I would get the downloads and the information from the guides, and then we would do the session, and then back in touch. The ones following that, because they do recommend you have at least 4. So this type of work is like peeling an onion or pulling the cork out of a bottle. There's a whole lot of stuff.
It's like counselling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like counselling. One session is just not enough, is it? You do need to kind of like, you know, have that layer system. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's how I work. So they can contact me via my email, and we can set up the session that way. And obviously we'll discuss what time suits them best, because there are obviously different time zones as well. So yeah.
Did I send you the time zone sheet? Because I know that we had a session, because that can sometimes help when you've got all the different time zones. At the moment, it's a bit messed up, because America, their time has gone back or forward, and we haven't yet, you see.
No.
So it's spring forward, isn't it? Spring forward. So we haven't yet. There's a week delay. So it's really difficult trying to work out the time zones with everything with America. So yeah, but within a week it's going to sort it out, because I think we change ours next Saturday, don't we?
I think so, yeah, because it's near the solstice, the equinox, isn't it? So the equinox is next weekend. But yes, I heard somebody say, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
So Greg and I, we've spoken about this as well. Greg and I have been talking about setting up in 5D psychics and therapists, where the psychics and therapists can get a decent wage. It is absolutely extortionate what these companies are taking. So is it you that told me the difference between what they charge the client and what you get?
Yes.
Can you tell us that? Can you tell us that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we get paid about, well, it varies actually. So I think some of them get paid about £25 an hour, but the company charges about 90.
Oh, that's terrible.
Huge.
You see, when we set this up, that is going to be our biggest selling point, that whoever gets a reading from these wonderful people, or a therapy session, they will be given a decent wage. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
extortion. Yeah.
It's very bad.
It's criminal.
Well, I always give my clients the absolute best that I do, and it's, you'll know yourself if you're sitting on the phone lines, and my calls are usually back to back. There are times when but most of the time they are back to back, and you can sit for 4, 5, 6 hours on the phone, and you do get a bit, you know, it's hard work. It's very draining working with psychic, full on like that all the time. And I don't think people understand when they call, they want answers to questions just like that, just like that, just like that.
Like this, isn't it? Because it's paid per minute, so it's like this. So that's another thing we would not do per minute. We would do like a 20-minute session or a 30-minute session, or that we would do it per session rather than that.
Yes, well, I think you would do your private reading, and that is the best way. And then you don't have that pressure. People know what they're purchasing and what they're paying for, and what their time limit. But yeah, it is heartbreaking for me though, because people do get cut off, and you're just at a crucial point when you're going to deliver the answer or the key to their problem, and they don't get it. It's really, I find it really frustrating. And I always work from the heart. I always have it. It's quite strange, actually. I'm interested in people's emotional hearts and emotional bodies, but I always previously worked with their physical hearts. So, yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. So you was a cardiac physiologist. Have I said that right?
Yeah,
physiologist. Yeah. Think about that job. What was that like? How did your day work with that?
Back in the day, it's strange again. It was a job that I kind of fell into. Well, I went looking for it, but I fell into it in a way. I went to school with a girl whose father was a cardiac consultant, and he had arranged for her to go and look round a cardiac department in Edinburgh, and I went along just to chum her, really. Anyway, we went along. She wasn't that fussed about what the work entailed, but I was fascinated. And then a job came up for a student. We were called technicians then, because they changed their name so many times. But and I applied for the job and I got it, and I rose steadily up the ranks. And I worked in 2 big teaching hospitals in Edinburgh, but I went on to specialise in cardiac ultrasound. So that was what led me into the corporate side, because I worked for a big American company who sold ultrasound equipment. So I demonstrated and sold. I was applications and sales, as they called us. So, and then I travelled. We had to trade shows, and I travelled all over America, I travelled all over Europe, and my territory, believe it or not, was the whole of the UK and Ireland. I used to go to Ireland to help. We had distributors there, and I helped them as well as cover my whole territory in the UK as well. So it was a busy job, but I loved it. and then I gave it
Yeah.
up to raise my son.
Yeah. So you know, because Greg's had to have that done. They had to see what was going on with his heart, so he had to have the scan. So that would have been your job, wouldn't it, to have a look and see what was going on in the heart area. So what can you see? Can you see kind of the pump working? Can you know, I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, for echocardiography, you see the actual heart, the structure of the heart. So you see the pumping of the heart. You look at the heart muscle. You look at the thickness of the heart muscle, the makeup of the heart muscle, because you can get infiltrative disease that causes the heart muscle to look different. You look at all the valves. You look at the size of the chambers. We look for a regurgitation, a leaking valve. So that's what you can see on ultrasound. And then there's another type of ultrasound. We don't perform this side. It's usually the medics, but we do help them. And it's transesophageal. So there are limitations to ultrasound, and the sound waves don't travel readily through bone or air. And obviously the lungs are, you know, around about where the heart is. So that can obscure the image. And if people are large, so they've got a lot of adipose tissue that's blocking the signal, or they have a lung disease, which is quite common, then you don't get such good images from the front of the chest, tranthoracically, as we call it. So you can do another procedure called a transesophageal echo, where they actually swallow a specific probe. So it goes down the esophagus, and they can image from the other side.
Wow.
Obstructions in the way. So, and those images are really fantastic as well. So, but that's to look at the heart. If you wanted to look at the coronary arteries supplying the heart muscle, you then go into a cardiac cath lab setting, and they use little tubes that go up into your arteries, and then they put dye into the tube, and that goes into the arteries or the arterial branches of the supply to the heart. And then they can see using x-rays where there are blockages or narrowings, and then people will go on and have angioplasties, or if they can't do angioplasty, then they will then go on and have bypass surgery to get rid of that area, so that the heart muscle is supplied readily when the demand is there, when they exercise or exert themselves. Because people get angina.
Greg had to have a quadruple heart bypass. He had to have.
We can be exposed to that from a hereditary viewpoint, but most of the time it's a mixture of old age and lifestyle that then, you know, everything furs up, everything gets a bit rusty as we get older, and that's just part of aging, and that's how things occur. But he's doing well, Greg.
He's doing well. He's doing really well. He's going through the night sweats at the moment, which isn't nice for him. Whenever he has anaesthetic, it kind of comes out. It's like he can smell the anaesthesia, you know.
Horrible.
and it comes out in his sweats, but it's his body getting rid of it, you know.
It is. You've got to look at it that way. Yes, it's offloading, and within a few days,
frustrating as it is.
You'll be okay.
So now, I bet you, because you've had that kind of background, when you're doing healing, would it be the case that you can actually psychically see inside a body when you're doing the Reiki session? Can you see things like that?
What I get given is an image, basically, via my guides, but I get the image psychically. That's how they work with me at the moment. I do know that they're always working on us, and now and again they'll throw in a few surprises, and we've given you this little gift, and you can work this way now. But it's very interesting. They give me images of the chakras, so they just give me a disc, and they'll show me if there's they represent it like a black layer or a black sludge or a little black rock or something, you know, where there's a blockage. But obviously I hear clairaudiently as well. They'll let me know what's what. So it is teamwork, and it always fascinates me. And I just think they're brilliant, you know, the information that they give you to do the job, because we're all looking for the same outcome, really, to help people and make them feel better, you know, and let them live a lifestyle on a higher vibration. So
do you get help from the off-worlders as well, galactic energy help as well?
Yes, I do actually. I never about 5 years ago I started, I do automatic writing, and I've written lots and lots of these codes. Now I'm aware that it's coming from different sources, because the writing does change. And it started off just with my own guide. So I have volumes and volumes of information, which is really fascinating as well. And then the codes started coming through, and lots of what looks to me like grid references, and they've given me a lot of information. And then I started channeling a language that I couldn't decipher, and I even with research I couldn't, but it's actually light language, and I do light language pictures as well. It's really lovely. Excuse me. And I know they do actually connect me. I do channel them sometimes for some of the star seeds that come through to me for readings. They're quite drawn to me, which I find quite flattering in a nice way. But they come and I fill in the gaps with regards to the ascension symptoms they're going through, or what's happening, or what the projections are, or whatever. And that's nice, because sometimes you feel a bit lost if you just need that little bit of information that can then, you know, free you up a little bit more. So they come through to me, but I do channel light people. I've had some, they're very non-emotional. they speak, they're very monotone, and they don't fluff anything out. They're very straight and direct to the point. But I have actually seen them. They have appeared to me.
Wow.
I went for a short break up near a place called Blair Athol, actually, in Highland, Scotland. And where I was staying, the sky was very, very clear. So I went outside to stargaze, I suppose you would say. And I looked over to one side, and it must have only been about 30 yards away, but I looked over and I thought, what's that? And then I looked to the other side, and there was another person standing on the other side. And it was almost like, you know, the cartoons rubbing your eyes, thinking you were seeing something that wasn't there.
What am I seeing here?
Yeah, but in actual fact they were, and they were light beings, and they were just pure white, translucent light, and they just stood there, and they were in the shape of a human. They were in the shape of a human, and their eyes seemed to get slightly brighter and then a bit dimmer, and that, when I looked, I thought, well, there is something definitely there. But strangely enough, and I don't really know why I reacted that way, but I just thought, oh, I'm going in now. And as I turned to go in, telepathically, they communicated with me and said, please do not fear, we come in peace. That was the message that I got. And they obviously disappeared after that. But I do have a lot of visitors above my house at night time. Which is quite fascinating. In fact, for a few months there were lots and lots, and I do believe that we're going to get many more coming back to let themselves be known to us. So that is quite fascinating as well. But yes, I'm very aware that these energies connect with me. I'm very aware when I channel them, because it's very, very powerful energy, and I'm tuned into the switchover. You'll know that yourself with regards to who you get messages from, or who's close by. You feel the the change in the energy. But it is extremely powerful, and they are here to help us, and they're encouraging us to help others so that we can benefit the whole planet and the you know, humanity, basically. So, but yeah, that was quite a privilege to see my visitors.
Yeah.
They're a
Oh,
bit
wonderful.
weary. Yeah.
Yeah, you do, but you know, most of these beings, if you're on a high vibrational energy, you're gonna get the higher vibrational off-worlders. There are others. We all know that there are others, and you know, it's just something that we have to kind of bat away, you know, as best we can. Okay, with that, but if it feels right from the heart and you feel comfortable with them, then you know, I think it's lovely to communicate with these off-worlders. Yes, wonderful.
Yes, it is very nice. And they have such I mean, the technology and the knowledge that they actually have is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they do gift it to humanity as well. They have gifted a lot, but it's been hidden from us, actually. So hopefully that will come out and be revealed. But yeah, they're here to help. And we all have links. Well,
so
sorry, go ahead.
What about the crystals, the crystal healing? Do you do kind of like sessions just crystal healing, or does that automatically come in when you do the Reiki?
I always incorporate it into the Reiki because I balance the chakras using the crystals.
Yeah.
But I do and you know, it can be very quick as well and very effective. But I can just do a very quick crystal healing session, just you know, a sort of an emergency session, if you like. And I love clear quartz because it's the master healer. You can program it to do anything you want. I've had some really significant changes within people just within a few seconds. You know, they really feel a huge shift in their heart chakra if you concentrate on that with your little crystal. Wow. You feel like Harry Potter, you know, with your crystal.
It's like a crystal wand you use? A wand?
I use a crystal point, actually. It's a very rough crystal point, but I absolutely love it, and that's my favorite for, you know, working on people. And I make a little grid around their chair, and then I ask those crystals to join together, and that really empowers the actual healing itself. And then obviously the guides help out. I mean, all the energies join in. So I just always think I have a really good working relationship with the energies that I do work with, and they know what my intention is before I start. I always put it out there, and they come along and help with that as well. So, but the crystals are, I mean, Mother Nature herself is just amazing. I mean, you can go and touch the bark of the trees, and they all have a different vibration. They all have a different healing ability. And they're connected to the earth as well. So I think people don't realise how healing Mother Nature is. You go beside the sea or in the salt water or beside a running river, and it's very healing as well. So I always recommend to clients, you know, especially the ones that are on the telephone lines, you know, to go out and do that, because they will be given help to lift some of the dense energies that are around them or within them. Short of coming to me, that is, you know. But
and it's like, the barefoot as well. Being barefoot on the sand or on the grass, or you know, in the leaves. It's important, isn't it? It's important to kind of really ground with Mother Nature. It's very healing.
It is very much so, especially just now with the ascension symptoms that people are suffering. They need their grounding to be really, really good and secure, actually, because that's enabling the light codes to come in, because we are being bombarded at this moment in time as well with the energies from the galactics and the sun, and it just helps people stay grounded and not get that airy fairy wonky way that people probably don't understand what's going on. A lot of them don't, but yeah, no, it's very important to ground.
So how can people get in contact with you? So it's just the email address you've got there. Do you have a website?
The website's under construction at the moment, so that'll obviously be added to Facebook. There is a Facebook page as well.
Okay.
So that's Gillian Reid, basically, on Facebook. There is a Reid Reiki page as well, but I think if they go to... I mentioned earlier that there was a bit of strange business going on with a group called I, or the M's, and I feel that they're perhaps blocking my Reid Reiki page, because I'm not getting very many people to contacting me. I feel there's something funny going on. It has the page itself has changed, so but Gillian Reid on Facebook, or Reid Reiki, or reidreiki@gmail.com. They're probably the best contacts if anybody has any queries or inquiries. So.
Oh, that's lovely. And, you know, you're so open as well. You know, they can reach out to you and ask anything, can't they, really?
Oh, yes.
Also about their trauma. I mean, let's face it, there's some people out there that have had trauma, and you're able to understand, you know, not just sympathize, empathize with them and work with them. So you're really kind of like a psychic counselor as well, aren't you?
Yes.
Because I'm feeling people get that counseling with you. They get that feeling of, you know, the love that you can give. You know, you understand it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if I can help anyone, I always give them a bit of a cheat sheet as well, because it's almost like psychically I can see, or I know the sequence of events, because there are patterns within all behaviours. There are patterns. There are groups of people that behave the same way, and I kind of, psychically I get, oh, you belong to this group, and this is what's going to, you know, this is why this is happening, and this is why this is happening. So I do give them a bit of a cheat sheet, and you know, encourage them to do inner work, to raise their vibration, to clear the blockages, so that they then attract a different type of person. Because the universe is a bit canny, they're a bit crafty. If you have to learn a lesson, they will flip you in the face with a feather, and if you don't get it that time, I always say, strange analogy perhaps, but this is how I always put it, they'll hit you on the back of the head with a brick. And if you don't get it that time, they will come and run you over with a 20-ton truck. So the lessons, they get deeper, you know. To get one lesson and to be taught it, you know, if you ignore the signs and you just don't take any advice, then you'll get it again in a different person, but the severity will be much greater. And that is truly how it works.
And do you believe that this is all kind of like something that we promised to do before we came down here? Do you think it's all linked with that?
Yes, I believe that before we incarnate in this lifetime, we sign a contract. And within that contract, there are lessons, if you want to call them that we have to go through and hopefully pass. And we've agreed to do those, but when we come here, our memory of that signing is completely scrubbed, wiped, and then you're presented with the pathways. Now, there are many routes to one end result, and I do believe that, and I feel that's where our free will comes in, because you're going to go from A to B, but you could go via several different routes, and these are the parts that we get to choose for ourselves, I do believe. So, but yes, it's part of our soul contract. Part of our soul contract, and a lot of it, or some of it, can be brought from a previous lifetime. So if you didn't complete a task with a certain person in a previous lifetime, they represent in this lifetime, and I'm hearing the fight goes on. It you know, you resume that that lesson, and hopefully this time you will get it. But I do believe that there are a lot of people that I've had in my life this lifetime that I have met in previous lifetimes, especially the big one. So.
Yes, yeah. I did a wonderful class the other day, and it was past life recall. And there was a lot of kind of like wow moments there, where it's like, do you recognize, you know, when they're going under, it's like, do you recognize anybody from this lifetime in your past life there? And there was a lot of recognitions going on, and those emotions, and then the work starts afterwards, actually, where you then have to say, okay, so why were they in my life? What did I learn? What was going on? So have you ever had any encounters with past life energies that you've been picking up with people?
Yes, yes. Quite often when I'm doing Reiki, because of the guides that I work with, I do travel into their past lifetimes, and I'm shown certain scenes that obviously is part of the wounding that they've carried forward with them. A lot of people bring forward fear, or they've been enslaved by some nasty person in a past life, and similar things happened in this lifetime, and so it repeats, and we sometimes can change that timeline, actually, and get rid of the issue that they bring forward with them. It's very interesting, and I am shown quite unusual circumstances, but it all fits into place. You know, it's very very good. I have a good team of guides, and I work with the Ascended Masters, and the Archangels as well, the angelic realm, as well as healing guides and my ancestors also. So they all just pop in and out. Like, you know how they work. They pop in as required, or you know, if it's a big job, then they'll bring in higher energies, or sometimes the galactics appear. I certainly know that because of the energy that I feel. It's very, very powerful. But yes, it's very interesting. The past life stuff is very interesting. I believe I've had a past life way back from the healing chambers in Egypt, but I've not actually had a regression myself. But that's quite interesting, and we're in a phase where we're all waking up or remembering what we did do in past lifetimes, and we're bringing that information forward to this lifetime to enable us to be the best healers or counselors or mediums or whatever. We're bringing that in, and it's being activated now, so that we have all of the capabilities to use. So it's very exciting.
All those tools for us that we've learned in the past. Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating.
I couldn't be anything else other than the spiritual person I am. It's actually part of my DNA. It's spiritual. You find people are waking up to their spiritual side and thinking, I'm whole now. Once they find that spiritual side and they connect with it, it's like, oh my God, what have I been missing all this time? I'm so much more powerful than I realized. I'm so much more in control of my future and my destiny. And it's all in the thought and your intentions in life. And we don't always get it right. We're always kind of like trying to, we talk the talk, but sometimes we don't do the things that we should do we? But we're human, and this is how it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's I do feel that being spiritual is it's much more accepted now, and more people are awake. They've realized that there's another part to being on this earth, and it is much more accepted. And I feel that people are looking into that side of their life, because there are different areas, and we're not whole unless we actually embrace the spiritual side of us. And we are all very powerful. We all have gifts that we don't know are there. Everybody is psychic. It's like a muscle. You just have to use it. But it has been suppressed throughout the years, throughout the decades, and we're breaking free from that now. We're breaking free from that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. You see, the dark ones, they do not want us to learn how powerful we are.
No.
When the slave race was created, it was like, suppress things, suppress the pineal gland, suppress, your vision, of what like a knowing. So, yeah. But the awakening has began, and it is not going anywhere. It's just building and building and building. And Gillian, you're doing your part by helping other people to ascend, helping other people to find their own power, and that is amazing. It really is amazing. I can feel your need to kind of get working, and so you've already been through the telephone lines, but you want to build up your business now. So if there is anybody out there who would like a session with Gillian, please reach out to her. Gillian Reid's at don't forget the S, Gillian Reid's at gmail.com.
That's right.
Okay, and Facebook page Gillian Reid's. Okay, so please reach out to Gillian. Have you got anything else you want to say before we go, Gillian?
No, just it's been lovely to connect with you again, as always. And it's fantastic that we're making people aware, and that you and Greg have got your platform. You're making people aware of what's going on in the world, letting people realise that we have been enslaved in a way, kept down, dummied down, not allowed to be who we are meant to be. All the fear that's been projected from that box on the sideboard that people watch on a nightly basis. I haven't watched television for about 3 years now. I don't have one.
No, me.
Don't need it, and
I watch Netflix. Most people on YouTube now, don't they? It's YouTube is their new TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some very interesting stuff on YouTube, although it can be censored, but there are some really good channels that are out there, and they're very educational for all of us. But I do believe there's a lot. I can feel the energy that's shifted a lot anyway, and with the planetary aspects changing quite dramatically. We've got the equinox coming up, and that's a significant time period. I keep getting the 26th as well for some reason. I don't know what it is. You get told little tidbits, but you don't get told the whole thing. But moving on, I do feel that there are big shifts coming in and big exposures. So we'll need to just watch this space. We've obviously got Greg and your predictions as well, which are fascinating. I love to watch those programs with you and Greg.
We're usually on tonight, aren't we? At doing our global predictions, but he just isn't well enough, I don't think, to be able to do tonight. But I will still be coming on later on Tuesday, because it's Tuesday the 14th of March 2023. I didn't say that earlier, but it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 14th of March 2023. I'll be coming on later anyway, whether Greg's with me or not. I'm still going to come on because I feel that people need it, because there's huge changes happening at the moment. like
yes,
the bank's collapsing and all sorts.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and but also the ascensions. And as I said earlier, we're getting bombarded by energies, and people aren't feeling 100% just because they're absorbing these energies coming from the galaxies and the sun and whatnot. So sometimes they just need to know that it's okay, this is normal, it'll pass, and you know, self-care, hydration, the normal stuff, plenty sleep if you need it, eat what you want, because we've all gone through the times where we've emptied our cupboards on one day and then not wanted to eat for 3 days after that, and that was all part and parcel of it. So
I think so.
Quite strange. But sometimes they just need reassurance that it's okay as well. And it's nice to be able to give support. Even just a smiling face is support to some people just now.
For sure. Yeah. I smile at people randomly all the time. In fact, I went into London. You know what London's like. I went into London once. I was on my own, and I was smiling at people, and I've asked 3 times how much. I was like, what? I was just like, no, you know, I'm not selling anything here.
No,
so
so funny, isn't it? It's a very closed place.
You can't,
I find it quite closed. You know, they don't like to interact on an emotional level in any shape, way, or form within a public space. Yes, but
it's a shame. And you know what? I would still smile at everybody, even though I don't care. I'd still do it. Shine the light where you can. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Absolutely. I do as well. And you actually feel the energy change. Somebody's scowling away and you smile and they think, oh, because they're not used to it. And you just feel that lift when you know you've just done such a simple thing, but you've actually maybe made somebody's morning or even day. You know, so
but
we have to. The simple things we need to keep, you know, doing that for people that we meet. And who cares what other people think? If they think we're strange, I don't care anymore.
Doesn't matter. Yep, I don't care. Oh, it was an absolute pleasure spending this time with you. Hang on in the room. We'll say goodbye to the people, but hang on into the room afterwards, and you know, we'll just because I think we've got the recording has to download, so we have to wait a moment. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here and spending time watching this interview. We're going to be doing more interviews. I think Greg's got some ideas on interviews as well, so. We're going to be doing separate interviews. We're going to be doing interviews together. So there's all sorts of things happening within 5D. So, you know, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and share, please. That would be amazing. So, it's frozen again. So anyway, bye for now, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks for having.